This film tells the story of a young woman named Catherine, stuck in a loveless marriage with Alexander, a wealthy nobleman who is much older. Their grand castle feels like a cold and lonely prison without a touch of happiness. Every day, Catherine is closely monitored by Alexander's strict and stern father, Boris. She feels suffocated and dissatisfied, both emotionally and physically. Alexander appears indifferent towards her, making Catherine feel even more lonely. One night, after attending a boring party, Catherine mustered the courage to sneak out for a brief moment. However, Boris quickly caught up with her in a fit of anger. He punished Catherine by instructing Anna, the castle maid, to watch over her in her room until Alexander returned. Alexander came home drunk and ordered his wife to undress. Catherine obeyed, but was surprised when Alexander didn't approach her. Instead of touching her, Alexander just told Catherine to stand naked facing the wall while he started touching himself. With the departure of Boris and Alexander, Catherine felt free for the first time. She explored the estate, enjoying a sense of freedom she had never experienced before. And it wasn't just Catherine who felt the freedom. The servants also felt a slight relief from the oppression they had been enduring. One day, Catherine heard some commotion and saw Anna being harassed by a group of male workers, including Sebastian. Sebastian was a new and arrogant worker who always paid attention to Catherine when she was alone. One night, Catherine saw Sebastian enter the house and their eyes met. Sebastian immediately went into Catherine's room and pushed her against the wall. Enchanted by Catherine's beauty, he kissed her lips. Although Catherine initially resisted, due to the lack of affection from her husband for a long time, she pushed Sebastian onto the bed and they made love. Despite the encounter lasting less than 5 minutes, Catherine still felt satisfied. The next morning, Anna, the housemaid, discovered her employer, Catherine, sleeping unclothed. Without hesitation, Anna gently closed the door to Catherine's room. Once Anna left, Catherine and Sebastian continued their pleasurable activities. This became their daily routine until Catherine's father-in-law Boris returned home. However, this time Alexander did not accompany him. Later that evening, during Boris and Catherine's dinner, Boris asked Anna to fetch his favorite wine. Anna searched high and low, but couldn't find the wine. All that remained was an empty bottle. Boris immediately accused Anna of drinking the wine. Despite Anna's vehement denial, Boris ordered her to crawl like an animal towards the door. Catherine could only chuckle from the corner of the room, witnessing Anna being mistreated. The next day, Boris, having discovered Catherine's affair with Sebastian, confronted him and gave him a beating. Afterwards, Sebastian was locked up in the horse stable. Catherine, caught in the act, pleaded with Boris to free Sebastian, but all she received was a slap. Boris stated that Catherine had tarnished the family's reputation. Furthermore, at that time, Boris had been yearning for a grandchild from Alexander, but instead, Catherine decided to have an affair with a cattle keeper. Catherine then expressed her frustration about Alexander's refusal to engage in intimate relations with her. That's why she resorted to having an affair. However, Boris continued to blame Catherine, stating that she was incapable of being a good wife to his son. Catherine's anger reached its peak. One morning, she daringly poisoned Boris's breakfast. She deliberately provoked the old man to get angry. When Boris brought his poisoned breakfast to his room, Catherine intentionally locked the door from the outside. Casually, Catherine chatted with Anna, while Boris screamed for help due to the poisoning. Anna, who wanted to help Boris, was hindered by Catherine. Anna was so scared of Catherine that she refused to talk to anyone. She just cried and felt frustrated on her own. Several days later, Catherine fired Anna from her job as a personal servant. Catherine acted cautiously, as if Anna was the one who poisoned Boris's food. Meanwhile, Catherine was dressing up Sebastian in fancy clothes, as if he had become the master of their house. That day, they were enjoying each other's company while expressing their feelings. However, Catherine's words took a slight detour when she told Sebastian that she would rather see him dead than doubting her love and leaving her. In the stillness of the night, after the passion of their affair had subsided and the cheating couple had drifted off to sleep, Catherine was startled by the sound of horse hooves. Her heart raced as she realized that Alexander, her husband, had returned. Swiftly, she instructed Sebastian to hide while she prepared herself to greet her husband's arrival. As Alexander stepped into the room, the change in his wife immediately caught his attention. Catherine appeared plumper and more subservient, but the shadow of Sebastian haunted Alexander's mind. Rumors of Catherine and Sebastian's affair had reached his ears. On that night, Alexander couldn't contain his emotions. He poured out all the pent-up feelings he had since purchasing Catherine as a slave and making her his wife. But a bitter irony slapped him in the face when Catherine responded with betrayal. Instead of realizing her mistake, Catherine walked towards the room where Sebastian was hiding and dragged him out. To Alexander's astonishment, Catherine shamelessly indulged in intimacy with Sebastian on their marital bed. Alexander's anger erupted instantly. He slapped his wife and mercilessly assaulted Sebastian. However, fate took a different turn when Catherine grabbed a cane and struck her husband's already fallen head, causing his demise. Swiftly, Catherine approached Sebastian and kissed him in front of Alexander's bloodied body. That night they buried Alexander's corpse and killed their horse to eliminate any traces. Returning to the room, Catherine playfully teased Sebastian as if nothing had happened. Sebastian resisted her advances, haunted by guilt. Catherine explained that she committed the murder so that they could be together, and she wanted Sebastian to become the master of the house. Eventually, Sebastian succumbed. They passionately indulged in each other's company. The next day, Sebastian began to behave like a true master, having breakfast with Catherine in the family dining room. However, their happiness was short-lived when a woman named Agnes arrived at the plantation with a young boy named Teddy. Agnes claimed that Alexander had married her daughter and Teddy was Alexander's child. Catherine couldn't deny it, especially since Agnes had valid documents proving her daughter's marriage to Alexander. Meanwhile, Sebastian felt furious as he had to return to the stables, while Agnes started acting like Catherine's mother-in-law and began taking charge of the household. One day, Teddy disappeared from the residence after a fight with Catherine. Panic ensued, and everyone in the house began searching for Teddy. Sebastian searched towards the waterfall and found Teddy sitting alone at the top. That day, Sebastian set aside his ego and chose to rescue Teddy, bringing him back home. However, instead of being grateful, Agnes scolded Sebastian for entering the house without permission and for wearing dirty clothes. Sebastian went off in anger. When Catherine caught up with him and saw Sebastian packing his things, he felt humiliated after saving the child. But Catherine tried to hold Sebastian back and said that she would definitely make him come back inside the house. That night, when Catherine returned home, she saw Agnes taking care of Teddy, who appeared to be sick. Catherine tried to persuade Agnes to rest so that she could take care of Teddy. Although Agnes was reluctant, Catherine managed to convince her to rest in her own room for a while. After Agnes fell asleep in her room, Catherine asked Sebastian to assist her in killing Teddy by smothering him with a pillow. However, after Teddy died, Sebastian seemed remorseful and went to the forest to calm himself. Catherine stayed awake all night, unsure of what steps to take next. The next day, Teddy's death deeply shook Agnes. When Catherine claimed that Teddy had passed away in his sleep, although initially the village doctors doubted the story presented, they couldn't tell the truth. However, their attention suddenly shifted when Sebastian, overcome with guilt, returned from the forest and honestly confessed all his actions to the police and doctors. Sebastian revealed that he and Catherine had murdered Alexander to obtain his wealth, and that Catherine had also poisoned Boris. However, Catherine denied all the accusations Sebastian made against her, and instead she accused Sebastian and Anna of being the masterminds behind all the murders due to their forbidden relationship. When Anna was called to testify, she couldn't speak and was unable to refute the allegations against her. Finally, the police concluded that Sebastian and Anna were the masterminds behind all the murders. As they were taken away, the servants began to leave the house, leaving Catherine alone with the baby she carried.